We saw her first.
When they said this was good, they meant it.
Hello, welcome back to my channel, and today we are picking what I read from some bookish prompts. Well, some book prompts. They're not bookish, they are books. I have never had books picked for me by these book prompts, so I searched for, I think I've got like 20 in here, and I thought it'd be really fun to let the book prompts pick what I read next. And I have a few that I'm really hoping gets picked, but I think I'm going to do this where it gets picked one at a time. So I will pick the first book that I will read, and then I think maybe we'll do about 3 within this reading vlog, which I don't know which direction this is going to go in. It could go really badly or it could be really fun, but I've always been interested by book prompts and having your TBR picked by book prompts. I'm trying to just get through my TBR, so I have my physical TBR put into little post-it notes and put into this cup, but I've temporarily put all those TBR picks on the side, and I've just put book prompts in here. And while I won't let it pick out my monthly TBR because I'm way too picky, I thought it'd still be fun to have it pick what I read within a reading vlog. That way I could still give it a go. So I have a bunch in here. I don't think I have enough. So if you have some book prompts that you think would be really fun for me to add to here, please comment them, because they're really hard to find. And so I made a few up, but yeah, if you have any book prompts ideas, please put them down below and I will definitely add them to this cup. Okay, let's pick out the first read that I read within this. I really hope it's a good one. Okay. Oh, I've got 2 in here. A recently released book. So the first book pick is a recently released book. This can go quite a few ways. I haven't had any books delivered this month, but let's have a look. Okay, I actually have one right here that's on my monthly TBR and I've been dying to get to, and it's a book that's been released literally in the last 2 weeks. So the first book pick is We Who Will Die by Stasia Stark. I'm obsessed with Stasia Stark. I love everything she's written. I've read everything she's written and I've heard nothing but good things about this, so I've been really dying to get to it. So we are going to read We Who Will Die by Stasia Stark. It's time for an update on We Who Will Die. Let me just tell you, I am like 47% the way through this, and this is everything I was expecting. This is everything I wanted from this book and more. I knew this was going to be a 5-star, and this is going to be a 5-star unless the ending is really disappointing. This is giving me 5-star vibes. I am having so much fun. I had to physically tear myself away from it yesterday because, first of all, I had to go to sleep early because I had to wake up early for the gym, and second of all, I really wanted to give you an update. So I tore myself away at about 200 and so pages. Every time I was getting to a chapter, I was just like, okay, one more chapter, and then it was like one more chapter, and then I was like, let me get 200 pages in and then I can stop. And I ended up getting to 209 pages because I was like, when I got to 200, I was like, let me just finish out this chapter. That's how good it was. I just wanted to binge it. And if I didn't have any responsibilities for today, and if I didn't have to go to sleep, like actually need a modicum of sleep, I would have read this all the way through, and I would have read this in one sitting. I have no idea who I want to root for. Let me just say, I picked this book up knowing nothing about it and wanting to know nothing about it because I didn't feel like I really had to. I've loved every book Stasia Stark has written in the fantasy genre, and all I knew was that it was gladiators, vampires, and Roman vibes, and I was like, I'm sold. You don't need to tell me anything else. I am ticking that off. And a gladiator FMC, even better. So I had no idea of anything else, and I still haven't checked the synopsis. I'm not going to, but I was obviously I have the fairy loot edition, and there's art on the front end paper and the back end paper. And it was only as I was reading this that I realized the front end paper MMC and the back end paper MMC, they're completely different people. And I was like, is this love triangle? Like, am I supposed to be rooting? Like, is there two men to be rooting for? And I think there is, and I have no idea who to root for because they're both very different, and they both have very different interactions with the FMC, and so I'm living for every interaction. I kind of feel like I'm veering towards the prince, but I don't know yet, because obviously the Primus has his reason, like there are things going on with him and with her and the Primus, so I don't know who I'm rooting for, but I am loving this is so good, and I'm really enjoying this FMC because the interactions with this FMC is so realistic, considering that she's a human in a vampire world. It's very realistic, her interactions and her feelings when she's surrounded by them. So I'm really enjoying that, and I'm really excited to see how she develops, because she's definitely, you know, she's got a few things going on, and she has been burned, she's been betrayed, she's been abandoned, and she has the weight of the world on her shoulders. So I have no idea like what this FMC is going to go, where the storyline's going to go, how everything's going to go down. I feel like things are about to go kaboom. So yeah, I'm having a blast. I'm so excited. I am loving this so much. I am actually going to finish this tonight. There's no way I'm not finishing this tonight. So yeah, this is going to be my last update before my final review, because I need to finish this. I'm just too consumed by this. I woke up this morning and I work from home, so the only thing I kept looking every time I was working, I just kept looking towards my book and wanting to pick it up and just holding off, because I know that once I pick this up, I'm done for, and I have too many things to do before I settle in for the night reading. And plus, I'm very much a nighttime reader. I don't like to be disturbed when I'm reading, so I like to get everything done so that I can just relax and read. So I'm going to finish this off tonight. I'm having a phenomenal time. I'm so excited. I'm so hyped. I love the vibes of this, and I can't wait to get back to it. Like I'm so restless for it. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to this. He saw her first. Do you know what? I think I was determined to believe that I didn't know who to root for, when, to be honest, from the beginning, I kind of knew who I was rooting for, and it was hard for me to not have that happen. And I was like, there's no way that this doesn't happen. But he saw her first. I know what that means. The wait for book 2 is going to be the longest wait of my life. That was insane. That was insane. I don't know what to do with myself now. So I finished We Who Will Die yesterday, and I'm still not over it. I have not been able to stop thinking about it since I put it down. It was everything I was expecting. It was utter perfection. Is exactly what I knew Stasia Stark was going to bring. I fell in love with the world, the characters, just everything was so perfect. And I loved the surprising twist of the love triangle. I didn't know that that was in this. I should have kind of put together that the artwork in the front and the back of this book, the Fairy Loot edition, was different male main characters, but they look so similar. I didn't put it together, and I lived for it. At the beginning, I didn't know who I wanted to root for. You know, they have these two male main characters have very different interactions with the FMC, but having finished, do you know what, I knew halfway who I wanted to kind of lean towards and who I was rooting for, and finishing this, I am definitely still rooting for the same character. I am rooting for the older brother. I definitely think he has a lot going on, and I think there's a lot to him that we don't understand and that he's keeping hidden. He's very secretive, he's very mysterious. There are so many questions surrounding him, and I love it. I was living for their interactions. I was loving trying to read between the lines and decipher what he was saying and what his actions actually meant. And I think he's a very misunderstood character. I think the mask he puts on has done a very good job at pushing other people away and making it seem that he is that way, because that's the way he wants other people to perceive him, to protect people that are close to him, I think. But I loved it. I loved it all. I definitely really enjoyed the development of the FMC. It wasn't easy. She has a lot of trauma, a lot of grief. She has a lot of weight on her shoulders, and it wasn't like a couple pages in and then she was thrown into this situation and then she was miraculously healed. No, it was something she worked through and continuously had to push through, especially when it came to dealing with her grief. I think that's something she's still dealing with, having finished this book, and I really enjoyed. And I really like when the author makes a point of making sure that we know that their journey is not going to be easy and it's not going to be rushed and it's going to be hard, and it just makes it feel more realistic. It makes it so much easier to fall through, because you're not thinking, well, that was a really fucked up situation and all of a sudden they're okay. That doesn't make sense. I really enjoyed authors that take the time to work through grief and trauma and all that stuff, and it really helps build up this character in my head. But yeah, this was a 5-star. This was phenomenal. The wait for book 2 is going to be agonizing. It is going to be the worst wait ever, because like I was just frothing at the mouth with that ending. I just couldn't, like, it was like being gut punched over and over, and you didn't know what the cliffhanger was gonna be. But it wasn't like a major cliffhanger. It was more just like an ending with this really huge thing hanging over them. But yeah, I'm living for it. I love this book so much, and it was everything I wanted, and I was really scared that I built it up too much in my head. But no, it was perfect. I couldn't get enough. I didn't want to put it down. I wanted to fuck off all my responsibilities and just read all day long and finish this book. And I did. So really excited for book 2. Really excited. It's going to be like one of my highly anticipated releases of whatever year it comes out. Hoping for a late 2026 release. That would be absolute perfection. But I don't know. We'll see. Now it's time to pick our bookish prompt for book number 2 in this reading vlog. I have a few books in mind that I really want to read. So let's see what the prompt is. A book I'm scared to read. Okay, there's a lot of books I have put off. I think we're going to do Kissed by the Gods by Kathy Rogan. I have been scared to read this book just because it is so hyped, and I'm just worried it's not going to live to the hype, because it happens a lot where a book is so hyped up that you build it in your head and it doesn't meet those expectations. And so I have that with this, but we're going to read it. It has been picked up traditionally, so I think it's going to be re-released fairly soon. I don't actually know when this is supposed to be re-released. I've been staying away from Waterstones because I'm on a 3-month book buying ban, and it's been the hardest thing. I used to be on Waterstones every day. Like, without a fail, I was on Waterstones every single day. I wasn't buying a book every day, but I was just shopping. Like, browser shopping. I may not browse shop for clothes online, but I will browse shop for books. Okay. Oh, it's coming out in hardback. Okay, so this book is set to be re-released on the 4th of June 2026. I don't know who picked them up. If I love this, I'll definitely be picking up the hardback because I'm definitely a hardback girl. But I'm obsessed with big paperbacks like this. Perfect they're perfect to read. They fit in your hand easily. They bend very well. Anyway, you don't want to hear this. Why am I chatting about paperback sizes? Anyway, it has been picked up traditionally. I did pick up the indie edition when it first went viral. And then I think a week later I found out they were being picked up traditionally, but it was like a few weeks where I only heard about this book and how good it was. So I was just like, I'm going to put it off until the hype dies down so that I'm not expecting too much from this book. But it does sound phenomenal. I have read the synopsis, and I think the FMC has some sort of divine power that she's not supposed to have. And I think it comes out when she's trying to protect her brother and she thinks they're going to kill her, but instead they want to use her. And yeah, she finds stuff out when she's brought to the front of the war to fight for whoever took her. So this is going to be really fun. I think this is exactly what I need. I was really worried that I was going to be in a book slump because of We Who Will Die, but I think this might be the perfect read for this feeling. So, second book is Kissed by the Gods by Kathy Rogan. I'm really excited to dive into this, and we'll see how this one goes.
Okay. When they said this was good, they meant it.
I'm 211 pages in. I'm having so much fun. I love this. I love reading. There is no feeling like it than picking up a fresh book and just falling in love. And that's what this book is doing. No judgment is ever going to make me look at my books that I choose to read any differently or take away my enjoyment of them. That's for fucking sure. And this is so good. I'm just getting ready to go to the gym, but I wanted to give an update to Kissed by the Gods. I ended up staying till 2 a.m. reading this book. I was having so much fun. It was so much better than I was expecting. I was kind of very tentative going into this because of the hype around this book, but the 30% mark is what really made it for me. I was on the edge of my seat the whole time. I had no idea what the certain plot points and how they were going to go and what it meant, and I think the author was really good at adding these tiny little plot twists throughout the story and really building up this world in your head. There wasn't a moment where we were introduced to a new part of this world where we weren't given proper world building and proper description to be able to build up this world in my head. I felt like there was such clarity and the colours were so vivid because you could really see the passion in the world building. It was so good. I was just on the edge of my seat. You know when you have to stop your eyes from skipping because so much stuff is happening and you just really want to find out what's going on, and you're like trying to hold back on letting your eyes skip to the bottom of the next page to kind of save yourselves from some heartbreak. But wow, I had so much fun. Was this the best romance I've ever read? No, but I definitely believed in them. I definitely believed in their romance. They're just not my favorite couple, but I still loved it so much. This is, I loved it so much. Like I finished this book and I was just so outstandingly happy because I found a book that just kept me gripped from start to finish, that I could not put down, that I was so immersed in the world and with the characters, and I felt for them, and I loved the found family, and I loved the banter and the interactions and the plot, and I loved it all. Literally, I have no notes. I did rate it a 4.5. It didn't give me that overwhelming 5-star feeling where I feel like it's really cemented itself in my top reads of 2026. But that doesn't mean it was bad at all. There is nothing to complain about. I loved it so much. I just think that, I don't know, it just didn't give me that overwhelming 5-star feeling. And I've been trying to be really reserved in the way I give 5 stars because I feel like I give it out quite easily. Well, maybe not easily, but I don't know. I have to have that feeling to give it a 5-star, and this didn't give me that feeling. But I did have, it just made me it just reminded me of why I love reading and why I love reading romantasy so much. So yeah, this was amazing. I think this was such a huge world and such a huge plot that got constantly expanded upon, and at no point was it boring. I don't know when book 2 is going to come out. I have a feeling that book 2 is going to come out in 2027 because book 1 is being republished and the hardcover is coming out on the 2nd of June. So I feel like that's such a huge gap that I don't think book 2 is coming out in 2026, which sucks because I the way this ended, I feel like I say this a lot, but my jaw genuinely dropped. I thought I knew who it was in that particular end scene. My jaw dropped when we found out who it really was, and I just couldn't believe it. Okay, I just had to move you across because it's so moody and grey in the UK, surprise surprise, that there is no lighting. So 4.5 star rating of Kissed by the Gods. There was just so much about this that I loved, and I feel like there's certain scenes that's really cemented itself in my brain. If I find myself thinking about this a few weeks later, I think I will bump up the rating to 5 stars, because my immediate thought was to give it 5 stars, but then I sat with it and I was like, I don't know if this is a book that's gonna cement itself in my brain, and yet the next day I still find myself thinking about certain scenes of this. So that rating may change, but for now it's a 4.5. Let's pick the last bookish prompt for this reading vlog. I feel like I need to find more bookish prompts. I don't feel like I have enough. A book talk book. Ooh, there's a lot of different ways we could go with this. Okay, let's have a look. I think we have this one that I've seen a lot on Book Talk. I think this is a contender. The Ascended, but I need to reread these two before I can read this one. Fairy that is a Book Talk book. This is also a contender. I think this could be a very strong contender. Okay. Ooh. Smoke and Scar. I've seen this a lot. People talking about it. I've read all of these. Oh, this has been on a lot on Book Talk. A lot of people have been talking about this book. The Second Death of Locke. Okay, so we've got 4 options. Now to whittle it down to 1. Okay, so a Book Talk book. We have picked, won't we? 4 options here that I think I've seen a lot on Book Talk. Now to whittle it down to 1. Immediately, the 3 that I really am craving reading are these 3. So I think we'll put Fairy Tale down for now. This is a thick book as well, and I'm currently in the midst of doing my Legacy series reread, so don't want anything too heavy. So these 3 books, I've been really wanting to read a Greek mythology, but I don't think I've seen this on Book Talk as much as I've seen these 2. So let's do The Second Death of Locke. Yeah, okay. The 3rd and final book we'll be reading in this reading vlog is The Second Death of Locke by V.L. Bovalino. This is a interconnected standalone series, and I believe this is Friends to Lovers, and she's his god. So this is going to be really interesting. I've heard such good things about this, so I'm really looking forward to this. I knew it was a bit too good to be true. I knew this reading vlog, there was no way picking 3 random books was gonna go totally well. And I think I may have found my first dud within this reading vlog. I am not able to get into this. I'm 115 pages in and I am struggling to get through this and to be sucked in by this book. I find other things capturing my attention. I'd rather watch TV, and that's very rare when I'm reading that I want to watch TV instead. I just can't see. I think it's really, realistically, is very much the friends to enemies. no, there's a lot of things that I don't seem to really get on, and it's not holding my attention. First of all, it's the friends to lovers. I knew it was friends to lovers before getting into this, but reading their interactions, reading inside her mind, knowing how long they've known each other and been in life and death situations and on the brink of death, I just find it really hard to connect the friends to lovers part, because I feel like in my head, if you are on the edge of death, you think that's it, your time is up, wouldn't you have some sort of confession? Like, on the edge of death, you think you're dying, you think you've got nothing to lose, so I'm going to confess. I feel like that would have happened by now, especially with how old they are, how many death experiences they've had. I just can't seem to find their romance believable, and I just don't find myself really caring for the romance. Now, separate to that, I can sometimes overlook romance in a fantasy. Well, it depends on if it's a fantasy romance or a romantasy. Yeah. Anyway, I'm rambling. I also can't seem to really get into this world. I understand why the war's happening, but it's just a bit boring. It's not. Yeah, I think that's literally all I'd say. It is boring to me. Nothing exciting is happening. Nothing is really just like really interesting and holding my attention, I guess. I don't know if I want to do like a solid DNF or a soft DNF, or try to push through a little bit more and see if I do find it gets better. I don't know. It's just, I think I'm not a friends to lovers kind of romance girl. I think I like enemies to lovers, rivals to lovers, any other type of something to lovers. Friends to lovers, I just don't find it to be believable. I don't really seem to like it. I think it's more the friends to lovers who've been friends for years before they become lovers. I don't know. I don't think I read that many friends to lovers, to be honest. Yeah, I don't think I read much at all of friends to lovers. So, I don't know. I don't know where I'm going to stand with this book. There's just other books that I really want to get to, and I don't really want to waste my time with a book that's not holding my attention. And then I'm doing other things rather than reading. So, yeah. I'll try and pick this up tonight and see how much I get through if I decide to DNF, and I will update you. But yeah, this seems to be the first dud of this reading vlog. It was bound to happen. It couldn't have gone that well for the entire thing, so I'm surprised. I've heard people really, really love this, and a lot of people that I follow that has the same taste to me have really, really loved this, but yeah, not for me, I don't think, but we'll see. I will try and give it a bit more of a shot. Do you know what? I never ordered this until I saw people's reviews, because the premise of this didn't really entice me, and I think I was right for that. So yeah, we'll see how this goes. Okay, so the last time I saw you was yesterday, and I said that night I was going to try and read The Second Death of Locke and try to get some way through it, but I didn't. I honestly didn't feel like reaching it. I didn't want to read it. Nothing was kind of intriguing me to pick it up. So I've decided to DNF, which is sad. I thought I was going to go with the soft DNF, but I think I've decided to go with the solid DNF because I just don't see myself picking this up. I really thought I was going to love it. I really thought that, you know, it was going to be a fun, nice time, but there was nothing keeping me hooked to it. I didn't believe in the romance. It just felt long-winded, boring. There was no plot. So I have DNF'd The Second Death of Locke, which wraps up this reading vlog. I mean, you know what? We couldn't have had 3 4 to 5 star reads. So it sometimes this happens. We have our first DNF of 2026, and I think I'm going to be more firmer with the books of DNF and just unhauling them straight away and just not wasting time on books that aren't keeping my attention, that aren't making me excited. And this was one of them. So I really, really hope you enjoyed this reading vlog. I had so much fun with this. This really made me pick up books that I've been putting off, that I've been dying to pick up. So I definitely will probably make this a series. Please comment if you would like me to continue doing reading vlogs like this, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.